Okay, welcome everybody. This is Nanette Kennedy from Evolution, Revolution, and Humanities team. Don't know why my picture's not showing up, but what the heck. Anyway, Angela Means is going to read for us today. I have a minor family emergency that I have to attend to, and I will likely not be back before the call is over, but if I am, I'll pop in and send a smoke signal that I'm here. And we're reading chapter 8. And thank you, Angela, very much for doing this.
You're welcome. Okay, Conversations with God, Book 3, Chapter 8. Life really does go on forever and ever, doesn't it? It most certainly does. There is no end to it. No end. Reincarnation is a fact. It is. You may return to mortal form, that is, a physical form which can die whenever and however you wish. Do we decide when we want to come back? If and when, yes. Do we also decide when we want to leave? Do we choose when we want to die? No experience is visited upon any soul against the soul's will. That is, by definition, not possible, since the soul is creating every experience. The soul wants nothing. The soul has everything, all wisdom, all knowing, all power, all glory. The soul is the part of you which never sleeps, never forgets. Does the soul desire that the body dies? No. It is the soul's desire that you never die. Yet the soul will leave the body, change its bodily form, leaving most of the material body behind, at the drop of a hat when it sees no purpose in remaining in that form. If it is the soul's desire that we never die, why do we? You do not. You merely change form. If it is the soul's desire that we never do that, why do we? That is not the soul's desire. You are a shapeshifter. When there is no further usefulness in staying in a particular form, the soul changes form, willfully, voluntarily, joyfully, and moves on the cosmic wheel.
Come on in. Hi.
Hello.
Creamer, I put a little bit in yours.
Sorry.
Hi there. We're on chapter 8. If you could put your on mute. Okay. I'll just start that again. That is not the soul's desire. You are a shapeshifter. When there is no further usefulness in staying in a particular form, the soul changes form, willfully, voluntarily, joyfully, and moves on the cosmic wheel. Joyfully, with great joy. No soul dies regretfully. No soul dies ever. I mean, no soul has regrets that the current physical form is changing, is about to die. The body never dies, but merely changes form with the soul. Yet I understand your meaning, so for now, I use the vocabulary you have established. If you have a clear understanding of what you wish to create with regard to what you have chosen to call the afterlife, or if you have a clear set of beliefs that support an after-death experience of reuniting with God, then no, the soul never, ever has regrets over what you call death. Death in that instance is a glorious moment, a wonderful experience. Now the soul can return to its natural form, its normal state. There is an incredible lightness, a sense of total freedom, a limitlessness, an awareness of oneness that is at once blissful and sublime. It is not possible for the soul to regret such a shift. You're saying then that death is a happy experience? For the soul that wishes it to be, yes, always. Well, if the soul wants out of the body so bad, why doesn't it just leave it? Why is it hanging around? I did not say the soul wants out of the body. I said the soul is joyful when it is out. Those are two different things. You can be happy doing one thing and happy then doing another. The fact that you are joyful doing the second does not mean you are unhappy doing the first. The soul is not unhappy being with the body. Quite to the contrary, The soul is pleased to be with you in your present form. That does not preclude the possibility that the soul might be equally pleased to be disconnected from it. There is obviously much about death I do not understand. Yes, and that is because you do not like to think about it. Yet you must contemplate death and the loss the instant you perceive any moment of life, or you will not have perceived life at all, but know only the half of it. Each moment ends the instant it begins. If you do not see this, you will not see what is exquisite in it, and you will call the moment ordinary. Each interaction begins to end the instant it begins to begin. Only when this is truly contemplated and deeply understood does the full treasure of every moment and of life itself open to you. Life cannot give itself to you if you do not understand death. You must do more than understand it. You must love it, even as you love life. Your time with each person would be glorified if you thought it was your last time with that person. Your experience of each moment would be enhanced beyond measure if you thought it was the last such moment. Your refusal to contemplate your own death leads to your refusal to contemplate your own life. You do not see it for what it is. You miss the moment and all it holds for you. You look right past it instead of right through it. When you look deeply at something, you see right through it. To contemplate a thing deeply is to see right through it. Then the illusion ceases to exist. Then you see a thing for what it really is. Only then can you truly enjoy it, that is, place joy into it. To enjoy is to render something joyful. Even the illusion you can then enjoy, for you will know it is an illusion, and that is half the enjoyment. It is the fact that you think it is real that causes you all the pain. Nothing is painful which you understand is not real. Let me repeat that. Nothing is painful which you understand is not real. It is like a movie, a drama, played out on a stage of your mind. You are creating the situation and the characters. You are writing the lines. Nothing is painful the moment you understand that nothing is real. That is as true of death as it is of life. When you understand that death, too, is an illusion, then you can say, "O death, where is thy sting?" You can even enjoy death. You can even enjoy someone else's death. Does that seem strange? Does that seem a strange thing to say? Only if you do not understand death and life. Death is never an end, but always a beginning. A death is a door opening, not a door closing. When you understand that life is eternal, you understand that death is your illusion, keeping you very concerned with and therefore helping you believe that you are your body. Yet you are not your body, and so the destruction of your body is of no concern to you. Death should teach you that what is real is life, and life teaches you that what is unavoidable is not death, but impermanence. Impermanence is the only truth. Nothing is permanent. All is changing, in every instant, in every moment. Were anything permanent, it could not be, for even the very concept of permanence depends upon impermanence to have any meaning. Therefore, even permanence is impermanent. Look at this deeply, contemplate this truth, comprehend it, and you comprehend God. This is the Dharma, and this is the Buddha. This is the Buddha Dharma. This is the teaching and the teacher. This is the lesson and the master. This is the object and the observer, rolled into one. They never have been other than one. It is you who have unrolled them, so that your life may unroll before you. Yet, as you watch your own life roll out before you, do not yourself become unraveled. Keep yourself together. See the illusion, enjoy it, but do not become it. You are not the illusion, but the creator of it. You are in this world, but not of it. So use your illusion of death. Use it. Allow it to be the key that opens you to more of life. See the flowers dying, and you will see the flower sadly. Yet see the flower as part of a whole tree that is changing and will soon bear fruit, and you see the flower's true beauty. When you understand that the blossoming and the falling away of the flower is a sign that the tree is ready to bear fruit, then you understand life. Look at this carefully and you will see that life is its own metaphor. Always remember, you are not the flower, nor are you even the fruit. You are the tree, and your roots are deep embedded in me. I am the soil from which you have sprung, and both your blossoms and your fruit will return to me, creating more rich soil. Thus, life begets life, and cannot know death, ever. That is so beautiful. That is so, so beautiful. Thank you. Will you speak to me now of something that is troubling me? I need to talk about suicide. Why is there such a taboo against the ending of one's life? Indeed, why is there? You mean it's not wrong to kill yourself? The question cannot be answered to your satisfaction because the question itself contains two false concepts. It is based on two false assumptions. It contains two errors. The first false assumption is that there is such a thing as right and wrong. The second false assumption is that killing is possible. Your question itself, therefore, disintegrates the moment it is dissected. Right and wrong are philosophical polarities in a human value system which has nothing to do with ultimate reality, a point which I have made repeatedly throughout this dialogue. Therefore, they are, furthermore, not even constant constructs within your own system, but rather values which keep shifting from time to time. You are doing the shifting, changing your mind about these values as it suits you, which rightly you should as evolving beings, yet insisting at each step along the way that you haven't done this, and that it is your unchanging values which form the core of your society's integrity. You have built your society on a paradox. You keep changing your values, all the while proclaiming that it is unchanging values which you, well, value. The answer to the problems presented by this paradox is not to throw cold water on the sand in an attempt to make it concrete, but to celebrate the shifting of the sand. Celebrate its beauty while it holds itself in the shape of your castle, but then also celebrate the new form and shape it takes as the tide comes in. Celebrate the shifting sands as they form the new mountains you would climb, and atop which and with which you will build your new castles. Yet understand that these mountains and these castles are monuments to change, not to permanence. Glorify what you are today. You do not condemn what you were yesterday, nor preclude what you could become tomorrow. Understand that right and wrong are figments of your imagination, and that okay and not okay are merely announcements of your latest preferences and imaginings. For example, on the question of ending one's life, it is the current imagining of the majority of people on your planet that it is not okay to do that. Similarly, many of you still insist that it is not okay to assist another who wishes to end his or her life. In both cases, you say this should be against the law. You have come to this conclusion, presumably, because the ending of the life occurs relatively quickly. Actions which end a life over a somewhat longer period of time are not against the law, even though they achieve the same result. Thus, if a person in your society kills himself with a gun, his family members lose insurance benefits. If he does so with cigarettes, they do not. If a doctor assists you in your suicide, it is called manslaughter, while if a tobacco company does, it's called commerce. With you, it seems to be merely a question of time. The legality of self-destruction, the rightness or wrongness of it, seems to have much to do with how quickly the deed is done, as well as who is doing it. The faster the death, the more wrong it seems to be. The slower the death, the more it slips into okayness. Interestingly, this is the exact opposite of what a truly humane society would conclude. By any reasonable definition of what you would call humane, the shorter the death, the better. Yet your society punishes those who would seek to do the humane thing and rewards those with who would do the insane. It is insane to think that endless suffering is what God requires and that a quick, humane end to the suffering is wrong. Punish the humane, reward the insane. This is a motto which only a society of beings with limited understanding could embrace. So you poison your system by inhaling carcinogens. You poison your system by eating food treated with chemicals that over the long run kill you. And you poison your system by breathing air which you have continually polluted. You poison your system in 100 different ways over 1,000 different moments. And you do this knowing these substances are no good for you. But because it takes a longer time for them to kill you, you commit suicide with impunity. If you poison yourself with something that works faster, you are said to have done something against moral law. Now I tell you this, it is no more immoral to kill yourself quickly than it is to kill yourself slowly. So a person who ends his own life is not punished by God. I do not punish, I love. What of the often heard statement that those who think they are going to escape their predicament or end their condition with suicide only find that they are facing the same predicament or condition in the afterlife, and therefore escaped and ended nothing? Your experience in what you call the afterlife is a reflection of your consciousness at the time you enter it. Yet you are always a being of free will and may alter your experience whenever you choose. So loved ones who have ended their physical life are okay. Yes, they are very okay. There is a wonderful book on the subject called Stephen Lives by Anne Puryear. It is about her son who ended his life when he was a teenager. So many people have found it helpful. Anne Puryear is a wonderful messenger, as is her son. So you can recommend this book. It is an important book. It says more on this subject than we are saying here, and those who have deep hurts or lingering issues surrounding the experience of a loved one ending their life will be opened to healing through this book. It is sad that we even have such deep hurts or issues, but much of that, I think, is a result of what our society has laid on about suicide. In your society, you often do not see the contradictions of your own moral constructions. The contradiction between doing things that you know full well are going to shorten your life, but doing them slowly and doing things that will shorten your life quickly is one of the most glaring in the human experience. Yet it seems so obvious when you spell them out like this. Why can't we see such obvious truths of our own? Because if you saw these truths, you would have to do something about them. This you do not wish to do, so you have no choice but to look right at something and not see it. But why would we not want to do something about these truths if we saw them? Because you believe that in order to do something about them, you would have to end your pleasures, and ending pleasures is something you have no desire to do. Most of the things which cause your slow deaths are things which bring you pleasure, or result from those things. And most of the things which bring you pleasure are things which satisfy the body. Indeed, this is what marks yours as a primitive society. Your lives are constructed largely around seeking and experiencing pleasures of the body. Of course, all beings everywhere seek to experience pleasures. There is nothing primitive in that. In fact, it is the natural order of things. What differentiates societies and beings within societies is what they define as pleasurable. If a society is structured largely around pleasures of the body, it is operating at a different level from a society structured around pleasures of the soul. And understand too that this does not mean that your Puritans were right and that all pleasures of the body should be denied. It means that in elevated societies, pleasures of the physical body do not make up the largest number of pleasures which are enjoyed. They are not the prime focus. The more elevated a society or being, the more elevated are its pleasures. Wait a minute, that sounds like such a value judgment. I thought you, God, didn't make value judgments. Is it a value judgment to say that Mount Everest is higher than Mount McKinley? Is it a value judgment to say that Aunt Sarah is older than her nephew Tommy? Are those value judgments or observations? Have I not said it is better to be elevated in one's consciousness? In fact, it is not, any more than it is better to be in fourth grade than in first. I'm simply observing what fourth grade is. And we are not in fourth grade in this planet, we are in first, is that it? My child, you are not yet even in kindergarten, you are in nursery school. How can I not hear that as an insult? Why does it sound as if you are putting the human race down? because you are deeply ego invested in being so me thing you are not, and in not being what you are. Most people hear insults when only an observation has been made, if what is being observed is something they don't want to own. Yet until you hold a thing, you cannot let it go, and you cannot disown that which you have never owned. You cannot change that which you do not accept. Precisely. Enlightenment begins with acceptance, without judgment of what is. This is known as moving into the isness. It is in the isness where freedom will be found. What you resist persists. What you look at disappears. That is, it ceases to have its illusory form. You see it for what it is. And what is can always be changed. It is only what is not that cannot be changed. Therefore, to change the isness, move into it. Do not resist it. Do not deny it. What you deny, you declare. What you declare, you create. Denial of something is recreation of it, for the very fact of denying something places it there. Acceptance of something places you in control of it. That which you deny you cannot control, for you have said it is not there. Therefore, what you deny controls you. The majority of your race does not want to accept that you have not yet evolved to a kindergarten. It does not want to accept that the human race is still in nursery school. Yet this lack of acceptance is exactly what keeps it there. You are so deeply ego invested in being what you are not, highly evolved, that you are not being what you are, evolving. You are thus working against yourself, fighting yourself, and hence evolving very slowly. The fast track of evolution begins with admitting and accepting what is, not what is not. And I will know I have accepted what is when I no longer feel insulted as I hear it described. Exactly. Are you insulted if I say you have blue eyes? So now I tell you this, the more elevated a society or being, the more elevated are its pleasures. What you call pleasure is what declares your level of evolution. Help me with this term, elevated. What do you mean by that? Your being is the universe in microcosm. You and your whole physical body are composed of raw energy clustered around 7 centers or chakras. Study the chakra centers and what they mean. There are hundreds of books written about this. This is wisdom I have given the human race before. What is pleasurable or stimulates your lower chakras is not the same as what is pleasurable to your higher chakras. The higher you raise the energy of life through your physical being, the more elevated will be your consciousness. Well, here we go again. That seems to argue for celibacy. That seems to be the whole argument against expression of sexual passion. People who are elevated in their consciousness don't come from their root chakra, their first or lowest chakra in their interactions with other humans. That is true. But I thought you said that throughout this dialogue that human sexuality was to be celebrated, not repressed. That is correct. Well, help me out here because we seem to have contradiction. Is everyone okay to carry on? Does anyone want to stop and have a chat?
Oh, please carry on. It was very enthralling. I was hanging on every word.
Sorry, Brenna, say again.
I said, please carry on. I was hanging on every word.
Oh, okay, okay.
There's only a few pages more.
Oh, it's only 2 pages. Okay, I'm on the PDF, so it's difficult for me to know where we're at. Right, so sorry, so we're on the world full of
like 4 pages, the small book.
Okay. Right, help me out here because we seem to have a contradiction. The world is full of contradictions. My son, lack of contradictions is not a necessary ingredient in truth. Sometimes greater truth lies within the contradiction. What we have here is divine dichotomy. Then help me understand the dichotomy, because all of my life I've heard about how desirable it was, how elevated it was to raise the Kundalini energy out of the root chakra. This has been the chief justification for mystics living lives of sexless ecstasy. I realise we've gotten way off the subject of death here, and I apologise for dragging us into this unrelated territory. What are you apologising for? A conversation goes where a conversation goes. The topic we are on in this whole dialogue is what it means to be fully human and what life is about in this universe. That is the only topic, and this falls within that. Wanting to know about death is wanting to know about life, a point I made earlier. And if our exchanges lead to an expansion of our inquiry to include the very act which creates life and celebrates it magnificently, so be it. Now let's get clear again about one thing. It is not a requirement of the highly evolved that all sexual expression be muted and all sexual energy be elevated. If that were true, then there would be no highly evolved beings anywhere, because all evolution would have stopped. A rather obvious point. Yes, and so anyone who says that the very holiest people never have sex, and that this is a sign of their holiness, does not understand how life was meant to work. Let me put this in very clear terms. If you want a yardstick with which to judge whether a thing is good for the human race or not, ask yourself a simple question. What would happen if everyone did it? This is a very easy measure and a very accurate one. If everyone did a thing and the result was of ultimate benefit to the human race, then that is evolved. If everyone did it and it brought disaster to the human race, then that is not very elevated. That is not a very elevated thing to recommend. Do you agree? Of course. Then you've just agreed that no real master will ever say that sexual celibacy is the path to mastery. Yet it is this idea that sexual abstinence is somehow the higher way, and that sexual expression is a lower desire, that has shamed the sexual experience and caused all manner of guilt and dysfunction to develop around it. Yet if the reasoning against sexual abstinence is that it would prohibit procreation, couldn't it be argued that once sex has served its function, there is no more need for it? One does not engage in sex because one realizes one's responsibility to the human race to procreate. One engages in sex because it is the natural thing to do. It is built into the genes. You obey a biological imperative. Precisely. It is a genetic signal that drives to the question of species survival. But once the survival of the species is assured, isn't the elevated thing to do to ignore the signal? You misinterpret the signal. The biological imperative is not to guarantee the survival of the species, but to experience the oneness which is the true nature of your being. Creating new life is what happens when oneness is achieved, but it is not the reason oneness is sought. If procreation were the only reason for sexual expression, if it were nothing more than a delivery system, you would no longer need to engage in it with one another. You can unite the chemical elements of life in a petri dish. Yet this would not satisfy the most basic urges of the soul, which it turns out are much larger than mere procreation, but have to do with recreation of who and what you really are. The biological imperative is not to create more life, but to experience more life and to experience that life as it really is, a manifestation of oneness. That is why you will never stop people from having sex, even though they have long ago stopped having children. Of course. Yet some say that sex should stop when people stop having children, and that those couples who continue with this activity are just caving into base physical urges. Yes, and that is not elevated, but merely animalistic behavior beneath the more noble nature of man. This gets us back to the subject of chakras or energy centers. I said earlier that the higher you raise the energy of life through your physical being, the more elevated will be your consciousness. Yes, and that seems to say no sex. No, it is not when you understand it. Let me go back to your previous comment and make something clear. There is nothing ignoble or unholy about having sex. You have got to get that idea out of your mind and out of your culture. There is nothing base or gross or less than dignified, much less sanctified, about a passionate, desire-filled sexual experience. Physical urges are not manifestations of animalistic behavior. Those physical urges were built into the system by me. Who do you suppose created it that way? Yet physical urges are but one ingredient in a complex mixture of responses that you all have to each other. Remember, you are a three-part being with 7 chakra centers. When you respond to one another from all 3 parts and all 7 centers at the same time, then you have the peak experience you're looking for, that you have been created for. And there is nothing unholy about any of these energies. Yet if you choose just one of them, that is unholy. It is not being whole. When you are not being whole, you are being less than yourself. That is what is meant by unholy. Wow, I get it, I get it. The admonition against sex for those who choose to be elevated was never an admonition from me. It was an invitation. An invitation is not admonition, yet you have made it so. And the invitation was not to stop having sex, but to stop being unwhole. Whatever you are doing, having sex or having breakfast, going to work or walking the beach, jumping rope or reading a good book, whatever you are doing, do it as a whole being, as the whole being you are. If you are having sex from only your lower chakra center, you are operating from the root chakra alone and missing by far the most glorious part of the experience. Yet if you are being loving with another person and coming from all 7 energy centers while you are being that, now you are having a peak experience. How can this not be holy? It can't. I'm unable to imagine such an experience not being holy. And so the invitation to raise the life energy through your physical being to the top chakra was never meant to be a suggestion or a demand that you disconnect from the bottom. If you have raised the energy to your heart chakra, or even to your crown chakra, that doesn't mean it cannot be in your root chakra as well. Indeed, if it is not, you are disconnected. When you have raised the life energy to your higher centers, you may or may not choose to have what you would call a sexual experience with another. But if you do not, it will not be because to do so would be to violate some cosmic law on holiness, nor will it make you somehow more elevated. And if you do choose to be sexual with another, it will not lower you to the root chakra only level, unless you do the opposite of disconnecting at the bottom and disconnect from the top. So here is the invitation, not an admonition, but an invitation. Raise your energy, your life force, to the highest level possible in every moment, and you will be elevated. This has nothing to do with having sex or not having sex. It has to do with raising your consciousness no matter what you are doing. I get it. I understand. Although I don't know how to raise my consciousness. I don't think I know how to raise the life energy through my chakra centers, and I'm not sure most people even know what these centers are. Anyone who earnestly wishes to know more about the physiology of spirituality can find out easily enough. I have sourced this information before in very clear terms. You mean in other books, through other writers? Yes. Read the writings of Deepak Chopra. He is one of the clearest enunciators right now on your planet. He understands the mystery of spirituality and the science of it. And there are other wonderful messengers as well. Their books describe not only how to raise your life force up through the body, but also how to leave your physical body. You can remember through these additional readings how joyous it is letting the body go. Then you will understand how it could be that you might never again fear death. You will understand the dichotomy, how it is a joy to be with the body and a joy to be free of it. That is chapter 8. So, have we any thoughts, anyone? I don't know where we're after time. It's 7:42 on my clock. That's evening time here in the UK.
Thanks, Angela.
You're welcome. I see Nanette. I can see Nanette's name here. Are you with us or not? No. She's on mute.
That was really wonderful. That was a wonderful reading.
Brilliant. Thank you. It's a good chapter, I think.
Yes.
And it's actually very relevant to me in my thinking at the moment. Not that I particularly want to share it all here, maybe, but yeah, I often find that when we read these, they're very relevant each time that we read. But I don't know if anyone has any thoughts. How about you, Brennan? You always have quite good thoughts on what we're reading.
Yeah, I'm so sorry. I was running around doing so many things. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I guess it's a hard subject to talk about, but I always feel like I've been liberal with like sexuality. But yeah, I think I remember reading back to this chapter and a long time ago and just thinking I was right. You can be free.
Yeah.
It was like you don't have to, because there's so much like shame and guilt and like sorry, my daughter's here too, so I'm kind of like
Oh, okay.
finding
Yeah.
that balance.
You can't talk over
But
fast.
yeah, it just, there's so much like feelings about it of like the forbidden fruit and I I know this is a joke or whatever, but I remember my friend like sharing this thing because she's kind of like me, but she was like, look at this, and it was like from church or something, and it was like ring the bell, go to hell, or like something just silly. Like there's just so many things about it that are like, don't do this, don't do that, or you know, and you just feel so clamped down because it's such like, it's almost like a biological thing, like you just want to go be free. I don't know. I remember this chapter being very liberating when I read it.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, tantric sex, which is using the whole sort of the whole energy centers there. I don't have any sort of real understanding of it, but I know that it's a thing that is available. I don't know if anyone has any experience with that. No.
I don't, but I was thinking that word, I keep thinking about that word holy and unholy, and about doing everything that we do from all the different levels, and it really all made sense to me completely.
Yeah.
Yeah. Did me too. And operating from your highest, chakra, your highest, I mean, that's, wisdom, your highest functioning.
On the issue on holy and unholy, I agree fully, but I was kind of, there are many play of words and almost jokes that God makes that works only in English.
Right.
So it always makes me think, how could it be in French? How could it be in Spanish with all my two other languages? Right. And it does not work. So it's good to be able to read it in English.
What happens if you read it in a different language? When you first read the book, did you read it in a different language?
No, I read it in English.
Oh.
And for Humanity Instinct Chile, I have to use the Spanish version, and I find it so poor. I'm always disappointed.
Oh, really?
Because it loses part of its richness.
It loses translation. It's too bad.
Yes, it's too bad. I have two comments on the first part about death. When it says death is that instant is a glorious moment, a wonderful experience. I could only remember when my father died 3 years ago. Oh, no, 2 years ago. He had suffered a lot. We wanted to end his life and were prohibited to assist, and it was prohibited. Mm-hmm. And when he finally did make the transition, the first 5 minutes, he kind of became fully alive, at least in its eyes and expression, even though he continued not to be able to speak. And the way all his faction, his look changed. He looked so happy and opened his eyes like a little child who saw the most marvelous things he wanted all his life. And he had been breathing in an awful way for many days, and he was breathing so calmly, and he just closed his eyes, expired 3 times, and that was done.
Wow.
And then it was clear for us that if we were very, very sad, it was our own loss to have not having with us this marvelous man. But he was so happy.
Wow.
It's exactly how God says it is.
That must be so comforting to experience that with your father.
Yeah.
Yes, it was. I always remember that.
Yeah.
And for the issue of sex, that's the 3rd time I read this chapter. And I know what God thinks about it. But when it says that it is, or she says that it is ingrained in our culture, in our mind, it is so true. Because I periodically have moments that I kind of console myself that I'm not having sex in my life, or I'm difficult about it, or I'm not interested. It's because my vibration are rising. I fell in that contradictions. So there's much work to do at social level, and not even to talk about religion and all the prohibitions about what sex can be. So it's a very good chapter.
It is. And like, going back to the death, it was nice to read those words. See the flowers dying, and you see the flower sadly, because I actually know those words. I've repeated them so many times when people have died, you know, and I've written to people. I've written those words out so many times for people when their relatives have died, and I find them so comforting.
Yeah, that was a beautiful comparison.
Yes.
Very meaningful.
Well, we've got about 10 minutes left. I don't know if we have any
I liked
more.
when you talked about ism. I like that part. I never heard that before. I mean, I've heard it before, but I never heard of the
What was that again?
business. The business, the ism, moving into ism.
Oh yeah, where was that?
The isness.
The isness.
Yeah. It's like you're moving into a whole different level when you do that. Is that what he was saying?
Yeah, I think so.
Is that what God was saying?
I can't recall now. It's difficult.
Yeah.
I'm reading on the PDF. I usually read on the book, but I can't find my book 3. It's very difficult to read on this
Oh, you can't.
laptop. But I'm trying to think where that bit was.
You remember it though, don't you?
Yeah, I'm just trying to think what he said now. I'm
Ism
probably
or
not going to
business.
find it. The isness.
Bizism.
I'm trying to find.
I'm just gonna go through it here and see if I can find it.
That was really interesting. I wanted to hear more about that.
Were you saying the isness? I'm not quite sure.
Isness. That's it.
Yeah, oh, here you go. Enlightenment begins with acceptance without judgment of what is. This is known as moving into the isness.
Isness.
It is in the isness where freedom will be found. What you resist persists. What you look at disappears. That is, it ceases to have its illusory form. You see it for what it is. And what is can always be changed. It is only what is not that cannot be changed. Therefore, to change the isness, move into it. Do not resist it. Do not deny it.
I like that.
Yeah.
Well, what resist persists. We've always heard that on Facebook.
We've always heard that. Yeah. Yes.
But that's just a different little take on it that I really like.
Yeah.
That. I really like that. I try to do that as much as possible.
Yes. So what you deny, you declare. So by denying it, you're actually placing it in front of you.
Exactly. Yes. And when you go on this way of thinking, your life really changes when you do this.
Yeah.
You really operate this way daily, hourly, monthly. You know, your life really changes to the positive because you don't judge. You don't. You know, it's not your place. You know.
No.
And it's just wonderful, you know, living this way now for the last couple of years. It's just been a really wonderful thing for me. I've realized so much about myself and about others and about how I engage with others and how it's different now than it was a couple of years ago. It's just
it's great.
So much growth I've seen in myself. And others have said to me, wow, you know, you've really grown.
Yeah.
You know.
Have you read the Trinity, Kirsten?
No, I haven't. And the thing is, I have like a reading disorder. So there's times when I can't read because of my situation. And so I have people read to me, or I do book tapes, you know. I do book tapes for many years. When when I'm in a certain state, I just can't read. So that's why I like this book group. That's why I first joined it a couple of years ago, because somebody was reading to me, and I get it more when I hear it, and it's all my senses are being intake by the words.
Yeah.
But just reading myself, and if somebody else reads it to me, then I get everything. I get the audio in my ears. You know what I mean? It's
Yeah.
just a better way of me. I get it when somebody reads it to me, reads it back to me. So no, I haven't read any of Neil Donald Walsh's books. I've just been on this book group. Whatever's read in this book group, I've read because it's been read to me.
Yeah. Oh wow, that's great that you're just reading it the first time.
But I had someone from Australia send me book 1, so I do have that one. But I haven't read it, of course, right?
Yeah.
But I also get it much more when we read it in this group, because I read all of this before, but I don't get it nearly as powerfully as when it's read in this group.
Exactly. That's exactly what I feel. It really works. It just being read. I've always felt the way as a child, though. My mother didn't read to me, but I wish she did, but she didn't.
All right.
But it's always a better way of getting information, because I really, especially when I hear it a few times, I've heard it a couple of times, like I'll go back and listen to these tapes again, like in a couple of days or next week, and I'll go, that was when they said it in the book group, that really made sense. Let me hear that again. I'll go back to it and listen to it again. And it's just, it really hits home. It's like, wow, that's really cool. You know, I get it. You know?
Yeah.
It's like eureka moment, you know? Aha. Aha moment, right? Yeah, I learned so much from all this. I really do. Really great.
The learning is not only at personal level, it is a social level. That is very, very critical in society. All the issue of suicide, and the issue is if you die quickly or if it takes more time, and everything that we do, like, are addicted to, that kills us slowly. And you say, well, but that is called commerce, business. It has a strong critical look at our society. And we do not always translate spirituality to that, but we should. Well, something that humanity seems trying to do with all the conscious business initiative.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. But if we're still in nursery school, not even, so he says so in this chapter, I mean, I wonder, will we ever get to be enlightened, to be highly involved on this planet?
Yeah, I know, really.
Well, if it is nursery yet, maybe we don't get to that point, because we might destroy the planet before.
We may well do.
Yeah.
But like it says in one of the books somewhere, I don't know if it's this one, it's just, all it takes, it can happen in just a moment. All it takes is for everyone to agree.
Yep.
You know, and we could do it overnight.
Yep.
We could. It's that simple. And yet it's such a.
That's what all that power of prayer. That's when everyone does those prayer things. I think they really work. Yeah. I think we should all do the prayer thing. Really.
Yeah, absolutely. And if you look on the Eva Rebo site, there's someone starting one up. I forget who. Someone new to Eva Rebo.
Oh yeah.
And he's starting that up. So, yeah.
A prayer thing. We're just like, millions of people just pray at the one moment, at 12 midnight or something, and just get candles lit and just do it. Positive love to everybody, the highest vibration.
It should
and
be
put thoughts into Mr. Trump's head to not kill everybody.
It would have to become a full activity. When there was a first peace agreement for Syria, 2 days before, there was a call for a world praying by James Timon. And I think we were more than 1 million participating to it, and he was there. And 2 days after that, we had a peace agreement. But it lasted like a week, because we all just were so happy that the prayer had worked, and we were all so proud of it. But it was not sustained. So it will ask for a deeper commitment than just to have beautiful moments that it has been done, because the energy we have to change is too strong to be sustainably. The change to be sustainable if we don't sustain the prayer.
Mm-hmm.
So there's a big movement that has to be built.
I don't know if there was somebody new on the call because there's somebody who called in, or whether it's somebody we know, but I wanted to say hello to them anyway. In case it's somebody new.
Yeah, hi there. It's a woman with a telephone number ending in 525. I think that's one of our regulars. I do think. Not sure. Don't know the person's name.
No, I don't see that person.
So again, Kirsten.
I see the telephone. That what you're talking about? Telephone?
Yeah.
Icon there? Oh, okay. I don't know. No idea.
Yeah, thanks for that, Sarah. So we've got a couple more minutes. If anybody has any thoughts.
Just thank you for reading, Angela, because it's nice to hear a different voice and a different take on it for somebody else to read.
Thanks, Sarah.
But we still miss Linda.
We do, yeah.
We do miss Linda. Hopefully she's, getting her plate taken care of.
Yeah.
She's not stuck somewhere.
Hopefully.
But what your reading was beautiful, Angela. Not
Yes,
as
it was very
theatrical,
beautiful.
not as theatrical that what Linda can do, but it was a beautiful reading.
Thank you, Don.
Very beautiful.
It was unexpected, but
I think you said, I'm sorry, I know we're going to sign off soon, but Diane, you just touched on something that's been like really bothering me lately. And I think that even this chapter about like the what resists persists, it's just the I'm not sure, like I feel like I should be joining all these like prayer groups and stuff, and I do my own, but it's like, it's not like a losing hope, but just I feel like maybe that's like we're just doing the same thing over and over again and not seeing like results like we want to, or more peace, I guess, an increase in peace or an increase in communication. So I've been feeling very stuck lately about like, what does that mean? Because I think it's great that Humanities Team is doing the Conscious Business Initiative, and it was really amazing to like kind of be on those calls when they were starting it up. But I feel like that's like their specialty. Like business has never been like the way I've never been like, in my mind, business is the way the world is going to change. I've been feeling something quite different my whole life actually, and that's the direction that Humanities Team is going now. So I've felt like maybe not left behind by that, because it's a really amazing program and it's working for them, but it's like left me in this place of like, what works for me to contribute to this change, because I've been feeling like, I don't know. I don't know. I'm tired of the fighting. I'm tired of like this way that it is, but I don't.
Hi.
Given that.
Hello? Can I be heard? Can I be heard?
Yes, you are heard.
Yes,
this is Anne. Hi, how are you doing today?
Hi, Anne.
Yes.
Is you on the telephone, yes?
Yes. So what I wanted to comment on was this path can't be done with the head, because you can't figure it out. There's no map, there's no territory. There's just the isms, the what-isms. So it's like you have to kind of go into your heart's the only way to, I see, walk this path. Because it's from the soul. That's it.
Yeah, that makes sense. Were you saying that in response to what Brenna was saying there?
Yes. Yeah, I can hear the wheels turning and this thing, hope, and that's like the readings that we've been reading is he's telling us exactly not to do that. Because I guess things only have the meaning that you attach to them.
Quite.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
So you get to maybe attach different meanings to different things and change your viewpoint, change your world just by that.
Change your perspective.
Yeah. Perception.
Perception,
yeah.
Perspective too.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Oops.
So that's my
Maybe it just is finding out what that means on a personal level, because even like reading this book 10 years ago or whenever I read it, it was about that. And then reading it now, the messages like they make a lot of sense and they all like seem to resonate somewhere within me. But I think it's finding out what that meaning is, and not just for me. I'm just generalizing through my perspective, but like for everybody, like it's very personal. I have to find how to do that so that it is more organically coming from within our soul. Or
yeah.
Yeah, thanks, Rana.
Your question is very valuable, Brenna. And even though I thought about conscious business, I'm not a conscious a business person, and I also live with your question. And I'm doing things. I coordinate the humanities team in Chile, but every day I live with the question, and I'm not sure neither that I found my way. Maybe we don't know how to listen to the soul. Maybe we are still doing it too much with the head. I don't know.
Ego, you mean? Ego?
Also, certainly there is a doses in ego.
Ego, yeah.
So I have a practical thing I can share, what I do, which is really interesting. So it's like listening to the phone call. I can listen to it the way that I'm listening to it now, or I can drop in and listen from my heart. And I hear it very differently when I'm listening from my ears and my head than when I'm sitting in my heart and I'm listening from my heart. So
I do that now. I just learned how to do the exercise here, saying, you can also see from your heart too. You can see from your heart. I just experienced it a couple months ago for the first time in my life. I saw with my heart. I was like, wow, I just saw something with my heart.
It's seeing through the eye of the heart.
Yeah, I never did it before. It never happened before. I didn't realize that if I was doing that before, I didn't realize that that's what was happening. And it's like a big realization for me. It was really neat.
Is there any way you could explain that a little bit further, put that into simpler terms or easy terms as to how you do the heart?
I can if you want. I can explain that a little better.
Yeah.
Okay. So the first thing that you have to do, the first thing that one has to do is to just go to their hearts. Like right now, if you were to drop into your heart and to just become aware of how your heart feels. Is it open? Is it constricted? Is it expanded? Just feel what it's like to be in your heart center. It's real different than being in your head center.
Completely different.
So that's one piece of just how to start, is to just experience what it's like to sit in your heart and see if that's different than anything else. Perception.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, that was a good explanation.
Yes, it was a
very good explanation. Yeah.
Thank you for that. Well, we're 6 minutes past the hour, so I think
we're over.
We're over. I think Nanette's not going to join us now.
Nope.
We have missed her, but perhaps we should wrap up now. Maybe. Has anybody's got any parting thoughts?
Be well, everybody. Take care.
Have a blessed week, everybody. Thank you, Angela.
Blessed week.
Great to see you all. Okay.
A good week sitting in your heart.
All my love.
Let's all do that.
All my love to you.
Bye.
All my love. Bye-bye.
Bye.
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 Thank you. Okay, now I get this off. No, get out of here. Ragga fragga. Get out of here. Leave meeting. That'd be a start. Yippee. Leave.